Hello, those of you who are looking to get a mortgage to either purchase or refinance a home. I'm going to share a little information with you about how to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Before I get into it, I'd appreciate you if you'd give me that sub if you enjoyed the video. I'm trying to hit 10,000. It's my next milestone, so it'd be great if you could help me with that. But the other thing I'm going to say is that we can absolutely help you to get pre-approved no matter what state you're in. So visit us at dreamhomefinancing.com. We'll help you there. I'm going to put a link in the description. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what a pre-approval is, your credit, what documents you need, debt to income ratio and income, assets and down payment, loan programs, your final approval, next steps once you get your final approval, and what not to do after you get pre-approved. Okay, so let's go to the top of my list here, which I have written down in front of me. The first one was understanding what a pre-approval, what it really means. What a pre-approval means versus a pre-qualification is that the loan officer, you've fully completed the application, the loan officer has collected all of your documents, your credit's been pulled, they've run the scenario through the underwriting system, and you're getting the approval based on that. With conditions, of course. Like you don't have a property address yet, you don't have all the other things it's going to require, like an inspection, depending on the loan program, and all these other things, right? But at least you know how much you can go shopping for. So that would be the first thing to get. That's the first thing here, and that's what a pre-approval means versus a pre-qualification, which is loan officer just taking some notes on what you're telling them and just giving you a little pre-qual letter based on what you said. So pre-approval is doing the app and all the documents submitted and everything. Okay, so next thing is checking your credit before you apply is important, because before you speak with your loan officer, I mean, if you're ready to speak now, that's fine. But let's say you don't want to have that conversation because you're not quite ready, it's going to be a couple months, you should be checking your credit now. Check your credit, see what's on it, see if there's any errors, if something's on there that's not yours. Maybe you'll unfortunately find some identity theft, with hopefully that's the case. That's not the case. You can see what needs to be improved upon yourself. You can see you've got late payments, you've got something that's popping up, maybe you co-signed for somebody else and they're not making the payments and now it's hurting you. Maybe you feel like you need to improve your credit a little bit. Let's say you're going to go for an FHA loan and you're right around a 570 credit score, which is 10% down. If you get over 580, you'll have 3.5% down. You know, these are things that why you want to check your credit well before you apply, so that way you can deal with that. Gather your documents ahead of time. So rather than you do the application and now the lender's saying to you, or your loan officers are saying, here's what I need the last 2 years tax returns, I need your last 2 years W-2s, or need your last 2 months bank statements, you need your last 30 days pay stubs. Know that you need that now and start getting those things together. Especially your W-2s, and keep records of keep your bank statements. You do not want to send paper, so just download PDFs of them, keep them in a folder, and what's going to happen is over time, when you're in the midst of the mortgage application process, let's say you're approved but now you're shopping for a home and it's been a couple of months, you're going to need to refresh those bank statements and also those pay stubs for your loan officer. So as you're getting them, you can just maybe put them in a folder, in an e-folder, so that way you're ready to send them out when it's time. To calculate your debt to income ratio, or you can have your loan officer help you with that, but you want to look at any car payments you may have, student loans where there's a payment required, credit cards, your minimums on your credit cards. All of those different things are going to be part of your debt to income ratio. So the front end debt to income ratio is going to be your housing expense, which is going to be your mortgage principal and interest, and your taxes and your insurance, and an HOA if you have one. And your back end ratio is going to include all of that, plus any other monthly obligations that would appear on your credit report. So car payments, minimums on your credit cards, things like that. Student loan debt, if you have a minimum on your student loan. Those are all part of your back end calculation, not your cell phone bill and some things that don't show up on your credit report. Verify your income and employment is the next one. So make sure that you're stable. Don't job hop. If you're in a current job right now and you can stay in it until after you close on the home, then do that. Okay? If you are going to change jobs, do it quickly. Do it not in the middle of your application or right before it, because you're going to need, at least 30 days worth of pay stubs from your new job. And if you're going to quit your job, make sure you go right into another one to try not to have any gaps in between. It can be done with gaps, but recent gaps are usually a challenge. Next one is reviewing your assets and your down payment funds. Now, assets, I'm not talking about your car and your whatever else you collect and things like that. This is cash, checking, retirement funds. Okay, those things are what will be important, or any real estate that you happen to have if you already own real estate. That's what's going to be important here, and especially your liquid assets, where it's going to be your down payment, your closing costs, and also your reserves that will help in getting your pre-approval. So make sure that, especially reserves, make sure you can afford the house that you're looking to buy. Because just because you can get into it doesn't mean you can afford it. Because if you spent your last penny to get into it, it's not the best situation without any reserves. Next thing is choosing the right loan program. So whether it's FHA or conventional, that's going to be the choice for most of you, FHA or conventional. There are pluses and minuses for each. And for some of you, it might be FHA if it's a credit score situation. All right, but if you're a veteran or active military, you've got that great VA option. If you're buying in a rural area and your income falls within the USDA maximum with regards to their income limits, then USDA might be the right way for you to go. But whatever it is, choosing the right loan program, which again, we can help you with, one of our loan officers can help you with that, laying out what you're eligible for, and then you can see the pluses and minuses of each, and then make your decision there. Because based on the loan program you choose, that also may sway the amount that you would get pre-approved for. The application needs to be fully complete, not, well, I don't feel like answering this question or that one or filling this in. You're just going to delay the process. Your loan officer is going to come back to you and say, I need this information, or can you go back in there and do this? So then you're going to get your pre-approval letter, and your pre-approval letter will be signed by your loan officer. It's going to show the amount, the loan type, and the date. Sometimes it gives you an expiration date on their pre-approval, but that you'll get the pre-approval letter that you can hand to your real estate agent, so now you feel comfortable going shopping. And then finally, do not make any major purchases until after closing. So this is where a lot of people make a mistake, and I know that most loan officers out there will tell their clients don't make any purchases, and they kind of don't put two and two together and think, well, it's okay because I've got my pre-approval. It is not okay, because if you buy a car and get into a new car payment, if you charge up a lot on your credit cards like furniture and things like that, if you change jobs like I just spoke about after you've been approved and you start missing payments, or you're late on payments, or moving money from one account to the next, these are things you should not be doing until after you close. Okay, so those are my tips here on how to get pre-approved, and then not only how to get pre-approved, but especially in that last one, how to make sure you stay pre-approved and you can actually close on the house. So would you like to get pre-approved? Would you like to speak to us about your situation? We can definitely help you with that. Just visit us at dreamhomefinancing.com, once again, linking in the description. And please hit the sub button for me, and the thumbs up would be great too. Appreciate that. And hitting the thumbs up, by the way, will also bookmark this video so you can go to your like videos later and find me one more time. Thanks everyone, and see you next time.